Hello, I'm Carly Latcham.
And I'm Pepper Raper.
And this is Almost Live,
a weekly show designed to give you the who's who and what's what in Telluride and Mountain Village.
In today's show, we'll join Catherine Warren for her Warren Commission for news on our local music and entertainment scene. We're also going to have conversations with David Holbrook to talk about the new Original Thinkers Festival, as well as Peter Bell to talk about Telluride Jazz Fest.
And we'll take a look at profile pieces for the View Bar and Grill at Mountain Lodge and the Telluride AIDS benefit. And Patrick Legans, the wine geek food freak, is going to share some wine tips with us.
We're going to go back in time for a retro ride to Carl Denson's Tiny Universe show at Club Red last winter, as well as a new episode of Miner's Minute and Device Advice.
And last but not least, Barbara Glanzing, our favorite local yogini, is going to show us how to do supported bridge pose. For now, let's join Carly and Catherine for the Warren Commission.
Thank you, Pepper. We are here with Catherine Warren for her very famous Warren Commission. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Carly. Great to be back. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. There's some great music coming up.
Yes.
We've got the Jazz Fest. I want to hear all about it.
Jazz Fest is, sorry to cut you off, I'm just so excited about Jazz Fest. It is one of my favorite music festival weekends of the year. It's just mellower, less people in town, but still amazing high quality music. And I believe Peter Bell will be on the show later to discuss more about the festival. So I thought for this segment I would talk about 3 bands that are must-see. Do not miss these bands. I interviewed Mr. Steve Gumbel of SBG Productions, who took over Jazz Fest last year, for an adventure guide article that I wrote for the Telluride newspaper publications, and talk to him about these 3 bands. So I really like to play this game. I don't even know if it's a game really, but in my mind it's a game. I like to talk to the festival promoters about who really to keep an eye on. And this year those artists are Go-Go Penguin, Bad Bad Not Good, and then Corey Henry and the Funk Apostles.
Those are some great names for
I
bands.
mean, the weirder the names, the more likely I'll probably enjoy the band. So they're part of the main stage schedule in Telluride Town Park, and then also Go-Go Penguin plays the Liberty as part of the late night shows on Friday evening, and then Corey Henry closes out the Liberty on Sunday night, closes out the whole festival with the final waltz, the send off, the last show of the weekend, and that is a separate ticket. But the Friday night ticket for the Liberty, you buy 1 ticket and you get to go to all of the late night venues, and we could talk for days and days about all the music that's happening at the late night shows. But go online, check it out. It's, I believe, a $25 ticket. I apologize if that is wrong, but it's a great chance to catch the music. And if Go-Go Penguin is full, you can go to the Moon or the Opera House and sort of float around and enjoy some great, fabulous music. So yeah, that's this weekend. And then next week we move right into our locals, one great local band. They have 2 nights of music at the Phoenix Bean. That's Tuesday and Wednesday with the Telluride Gold Kings. Their summer residency. They play out on the back porch. You can go get coffee or an alcoholic beverage or tea and food and listen to some great live music. And then on Thursday night at 8 p.m., this fabulous band named Con Brio plays Club Red. I don't know if you caught them at Blues and Brews a few years ago, or they opened for Turquoise this March.
You didn't tell me more.
They are so much fun. They're from Northern California, sort of a funk soul outfit. The lead singer, his name is escaping me right now, but he's been called a young James Brown. So that's really all you need to know. Go check them out at Club Red in Mountain Village on Thursday night. But before you go see the new James Brown, there's another fun event happening on Thursday night that I just heard about. Tell me more, Carly.
So at 7 p.m. at the Wilkinson Public Library, Telluride TV is putting on a presentation with Bob Baer, who is a former CIA operative and a current CNN correspondent. He actually corresponds to CNN right here at the Telluride TV studio.
On the same green screen that
Yes.
we're on today.
Yes, exactly. So that is our, claim to global fame there, I guess.
Great.
But he has had such an interesting and incredible story. The movie Syriana was actually based on him.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be talking a little bit about President Trump, Russia, intelligence. We're just going to get a look into the news from the perspective of somebody who's been behind the scenes for so long.
Yeah. In a world that we're really not aware of, the intelligence world. Like there's just so many things.
There's so much buzz going on right now about the intelligence community, so I think it will be just really interesting. And that's at 7 p.m. at the Wilkinson Public Library on Thursday.
Well, I'll be taking a break from all this fabulous music to catch up on what the heck is going on with Trump and Russia.
Yeah, he's a great person to hear about that from. Let's go to Patrick Legans, the wine geek food freak. He's going to give us some wine tips.
Awesome.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Wine Geek Food Freak. I'm your host, Patrick Legans, and today we have a beautiful Sonoma County Cabernet Sauvignon. A little bit of a misnomer because it actually has 15% Merlot, a little bit of Cabernet Franc for floral notes, and some Malbec and Petit Verdot for color. The Alexander Valley Vineyards was purchased by the Wetzel family. There are 4 generations in at this point in time. The wine itself, classic Sonoma County Cab. The story of wine in Sonoma County, pretty funny and interesting. It actually starts in Bavaria. A gentleman by the name of Gustav Horazeri moves to upstate Wisconsin and starts the very first winery there, named Horazeri. He actually even built a city he named after himself. I kind of like that about him. Became fairly successful. Then he and his business partner decided to do a project in Southern California. Gustav went out there in the late 1800s, started a 500-acre produce farm. Then he became mayor. Then he moved to Sonoma County, where he started the very first winery in Northern California. It's called Buena Vista Vineyards, which still exists to this day. The last time I was there, I went to the local museum, and it turns out he was also the first minter in Northern California, and it turns out he was making a lot more coins than he was turning in. So Buena Vista Vineyards was probably the first subsidized winery ever. This particular wine, classic Sonoma County. I mean, you get that evergreen. It's black cassis, it's blueberry, tobacco, chocolate on the palate. New World sunshine, old world style. It's a fantastic wine. You can get this wine for under $25 here locally. As always, I want to thank our sponsor, Sidework Restaurant. This is Cabernet Sauvignon from Sonoma Valley. This is Alexander Valley Vineyards. Remember, always drink wine with your friends. As Shakespeare said, those friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple to thy soul with hoops of steel. Salud.
The HIV epidemic has evolved immensely since the early days in the early 1980s. We see many fewer people dying of AIDS nowadays, but there's still lots of people living with HIV. More and more people are getting access to the antiretroviral medications, but not enough of them. So we still have a long way to go on all fronts.
The heart of the Telluride AIDS benefit is both activism and fundraising. Our goal is to raise awareness about the cause and funds for the people who need them most.
I look at myself as sort of the patriarch of the AIDS benefit. I moved here with Robert Presley in 1990, and Robert was a costumer. He actually made costumes for kids. We spent the good years here, and about 1994, Robert was getting ill. Even when I met Robert in 1988, I knew he had HIV/AIDS, and back then there wasn't a whole lot of hope for things, and you just had to do the best you could. And a bunch of his darling friends wanted to do something for Robert. And Robert being Robert, he didn't want the money to go to him. So we got involved with the only AIDS organization on the west slope of Colorado at that time, which was West Cap. And they did a little dance-a-thon down on Main Street. A bunch of the girls put these dresses on and they waltzed down Main Street, and that was the fashion show in 1994.
So since 1994, the Telluride AIDS Benefit has raised over $2.5 million for AIDS service organizations in Colorado and Africa, raising money specifically for client care and their families and prevention and education.
Our philosophy at TAB is we have to educate. The Telluride AIDS Benefit Board is very proud of a curriculum that we have assisted with writing. It is available for teachers and students across Colorado and across the United States. We think it's really important to educate our 6th grade through 12th grade students so that they can make healthy decisions.
The community has really embraced it in every way. I mean, it's really a grassroots organization. It's just been an amazing ride.
It's Telluride's best moment for creativity and philanthropy and compassion. It's just an awesome event that people have really rallied behind for 25 years now, and it's a great honor to be a part of it.
All right, well, that was a great piece on the Telluride AIDS Benefit, a wonderful locally grown organization that helps AIDS patients here as well as in Africa too. Anyhow, I'd like to welcome Peter Bell here with us to the studio. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure to be here.
Well, first off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here in Telluride and your involvement?
Sure. My day job back in Washington, D.C. is I serve as executive director of an affordable housing organization. And so many years ago, the year before the conference center first opened, I was invited here by John Birchmore, who was executive director of it pre-opening, to take a look at bringing a conference to the conference center. And in fact, I did that very next summer when it opened, and we were the very first event in the conference center, our Summer Institute for Affordable Housing Developers, an event we just did last week on Martha's Vineyard. But in any case, John knew his customers and said to me, I want you to come out and take a look at Telluride and come be my guest for the Jazz Festival.
All right.
So I said, you're good, John. You know your parties. So we came out that year for the festival, and it's been a love affair with the community and the festival ever since.
So the Telluride Jazz Festival is originally owned by the Telluride Society for Jazz?
Well, it was originally owned by some individual entrepreneurs. And in 1992, the entrepreneurs that were handling it were facing their share of challenges. It's quite difficult to produce a festival in this environment generally, but also a festival that has a brand of music that is more or less considered to be urban music, to be out here in southwestern Colorado. So it was a challenge. So they struggled, and they learned that they could get community support by creating a nonprofit. So in 1992, they created the Telluride Society for Jazz, and the ownership of the festival was transferred to the society. So the society has been the presenting organization ever since.
And what is the mission of the Telluride Society for Jazz?
Well, it's to bring music, and we describe it as improvisational music because that's really the basic element of jazz. It's art being created right there live before an audience. You know, when you think about classical music, the music is being performed live, but the music is written down. It's played the same way every time it's played. Jazz is never the same twice.
It's free form and...
Well, yeah, it's free for this structure, but it is highly improvisational, highly interpretive. So the idea is to bring that type of musical entertainment and education to the Telluride community. And we do that first and foremost through our festival, but also we have a lot of educational programs that go on this week in conjunction with the festival. And we also do some events throughout the year. And our goal is to do more and more of those events throughout the year. So now, one big change. So 2 years ago, our staff, we had our own dedicated staff, and our executive director, Paul Machado, retired. And there was a question about how to proceed. And the board decided that maybe rather than maintain our own staff, we should find a good production partner, which we found in SBG Productions, who, as you know, produces the Blues and Brews Festival and does a first-rate job.
As well as the Durango Blues Train.
And the Blues Train.
He's got a lot of experience.
Right. So we partnered with them. So we have a public-private joint venture here where we are the public entity and they are the private entity. And we work jointly to produce the festival,
And last year was the first year that they took it on.
That was the first year under that, and they did a great job for the first year. And we see the results already this year with ticket sales running probably about 50% higher than our best year ever already for this year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. Well, some of that I'm sure is due to the lineup. Who do we have coming this weekend?
Oh boy, we got a great lineup. We have Bruce Hornsby, who I'm a jazz guy. I'm not really, I haven't really paid that attention to the rock world for probably 30, 35 years. But it's been interesting to me to see the reaction I get to Bruce Hornsby. Everybody I mentioned, jazz people that aren't necessarily into jazz, are very excited. Deadheads, right. And so we have Bruce Hornsby as our headline, and people are very excited about that. I am too.
And what day is he playing? On Sunday or?
You got me on that. The exact
we can look it up. We'll look it up.
I'm an in-the-moment guy,
Just like jazz, right?
Right. Irma Thomas, who is a soul and blues singer out of New Orleans.
Yeah, soul queen
in her
of New Orleans.
70s and great personality. Carl Denson, who of course has played in Telluride many times. Fun bopping saxophonist who recently toured with the Rolling Stones.
That's right. Crowd favorite for sure. Everyone how can you not?
J-Mo's jazz band. J-Mo is a drummer who I guess is best known because he was a drummer with the Allman Brothers for a number of years.
I heard an interview where someone said if it wasn't for J-Mo, the Allman Brothers would be Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh, that's funny.
Because he listens to jazz and like all of this improvisational.
Well, he drives. He's a driving drummer, and that's what you want in a drummer. We have a whole bunch of groups that are really kind of the new jazz scene that are attracting young people to jazz venues all around the country. Bad, Bad, Not Good.
Seen them around.
Corey Henry, who has been instrumentally involved, no pun intended, with Snarky Puppy. And which is very popular. Snarky Puppy is probably one of the most popular groups in jazz today, and they are bringing out young people to jazz venues like we haven't seen in years.
Has Snarky Puppy played?
They have played this festival, yeah. Yeah, we can't afford them now. They're so popular. In fact, they did 12 shows at SF Jazz in San Francisco recently, and they sold out 600 seats a show.
That's incredible. 6
nights in a row, 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
So,
jazz isn't going anywhere. I feel like it's, like you said, there are these new bands that are coming up and introducing younger people to the genre.
yes, and they're very interesting. They're steeped in the tradition of improvisational music, but their influences are much more broad. They're really world music. They're rap, hip-hop inspired,
Some are
as
kind
well
of
as
getting
jazz
into
inspired.
electronic, right? Like
A lot of
Go
electronic,
Penguin is
yes,
kind of
very much so.
that way a little bit too.
Right, and what I think we're seeing is that young folks have a new approach to music. You know, like I said, I'm a jazz guy. Young folks don't say that. They have an omnivorous interest in music. They like all kinds of music we're seeing. So that's what's so exciting about this festival. I think Steve Gumbel and his team have done a magnificent job of really doing a very broad mix.
All right, well, last question. What are you personally most excited to see?
Well, I'm most excited to see Bruce Hornsby because of the reaction he's got to everybody. But, you know, I love everybody. And, of course, I have a pet favorite, the Telluride Jazz All-Stars,
Of course.
who just started rehearsing an hour ago this morning.
That's
and we have
awesome.
a great lineup this year.
Good.
Right.
All right, so check out the Telluride Jazz Festival happening this weekend. It is starting on Thursday for patrons. Tickets are still available at TellurideJazz.org. Peter, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Pepper.
And now let's check out a profile piece on the View Bar and Grill at Mountain Lodge.
When you walk into the View Bar and Grill, you'll see immediately where we got our name. Our relaxed, comfortable, and welcoming atmosphere will immediately make you feel on top of the world. Whether you're relaxing by the fire, enjoying a bite to eat by the pool, or having a cocktail at the bar. Our menu evolves seasonally and reflects the simple and straightforward preparation of comfortable classics. We have many fun shareable dishes too. We have a rotating selection of 12 Colorado brews on tap, and our bartenders mix up some of the coolest, most unique drinks around. And don't forget our adult slushies. The View is a cool gathering spot for guests and locals alike to enjoy good food, drinks, and in my opinion, really good people. I'm Chef Bud, and I look forward to seeing you here at the View soon.
That was a great profile on the View Bar and Grill up at the Mountain Lodge. We produced that little video and produced many just like it for local businesses and organizations around town. We support them, and you can support us by coming to our event on August 9th at the Wilkinson Public Library. It is free to the public and it starts at 7 p.m. Bob Baer is going to be giving a presentation about President Trump and his involvement with Russia.
Speaking of support, Telluride TV is a public access channel that depends on public support. We want to give a shout out to a few of our most generous supporters, the towns of Telluride and Mountain Village, the Telluride Foundation, and the Telluride Ski and Golf Company.
Let's check out the retro ride from last winter, Carl Dentz's Tiny Universe, followed by a Miner's Minute.
Telluride, how you feeling? Make some noise in here. Come on, come on. I can't hear you. Now somebody scream.
Hey, this is Teresa at the Telluride Historical Museum with your Miner's Minute. Our town's geography makes travel to and from Telluride extremely difficult. But can you imagine a time before planes, cars, or even roads? At first, the only options to come and go to our area included mule trains, narrow wagon trails, or footpaths through dangerous mountain passes. The construction of a narrow gauge railroad finally connected the towns of Durango, Rico, Telluride, and Ridgeway. This train, called the Rio Grande Southern Railroad, carved its way up Keystone Hill, crossed the valley floor, and arrived in Telluride on Thanksgiving Day in 1890. This forever transformed daily life by creating a link to the outside world. Think about that the next time your Amazon order is a little late. To learn more about our extreme past, visit the museum from Mondays through Saturdays, 11 to 5 p.m., with extended hours on Thursdays until 7 and Sundays from 1 to 5. Thanks, Telluride TV.
Special thanks to the Historical Museum for that Miner's Minute. We are here with David Holbrook. So good to have you in the studio.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. So what originally brought you to Telluride? I want to give the audience a chance to get to know you a little bit.
Sure, my father had a friend here, Susan St. James, the actress, who had a place, and said, come stay here. So on Christmas of '88, my brother and I flew into Grand Junction, ran a Buick LeSabre, because that's a good mountain car, and drove here at like midnight on Christmas night through a snowstorm. How we made it, I don't know. Our bags were lost, but we're like, this is home. And we've been coming back ever since, got married here, lived here when I was 26, but moved back to New York. And then in 2013, my whole family moved out here. My kids went to school. My daughter just graduated. And then my wife started running the Pinhead Institute. And of course, I was at Mountain Film for a decade. And so it really is home. Like, I've thought about places I've lived, and I don't think I've ever felt more home than here in Telluride.
I feel the same way.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So you just started a new festival, Original Thinkers.
It's exciting, yeah. It's an ideas fest, being supported by film and art, using those to look at ideas in a different way. It's a small festival. We want it to be about 350 people, and that if you have a pass, you get in. We want it relaxed, we want it really smart, we want it really fun. It's in October 4th to 7th. And we'll be using this whole landscape, which is really exciting. It's like, how can we incorporate some of the original thinking that went into this valley, whether it's the preservation of the valley floor, it's Chuck Kroger and the Via Ferrata. There's been so much innovation that's come out of this place. We want to celebrate that through this idea of original thinking, and I think that's what we really need now. You know, the world's crazy, and so we need new ideas. The 20th century stuff worked all right for a lot of people in the 20th century, but looking at the 21st century and those challenges, we want to have our finger on the pulse of that.
And I love that it's just one main venue and everybody gets to go to everything. It's going to be really intimate.
That's the idea, is we want intimate and relaxed so that people share the same experience. And look, at Mountain Film was great what we did. We had 8 theaters going, and people went in all kinds of different directions. But those shared common experiences were there, but not on the same level that we think can happen with original thinkers, because coming to the same theater, relaxed coming into it, makes it a whole different experience. And it's right around the corner, be at the conference center, which we're renaming the Big Idea. And that's what we want, is we want people to come here and have big ideas. I mean, I think so much has come out of people in the mountains thinking and being able to come up with something that might not have happened in the chaos of a city. So we look at this as a refuge. And you also think about Aspen with the Ideas Fest. Davos has this big assemblage of people. We're not looking to do that. We're looking to do our own version. But there isn't anything like this in Telluride now, despite an abundance of festivals, and that's great. But we feel there's a really great space to look at ideas and to look at them in October, which is such a beautiful time here.
So how can somebody get tickets to this festival?
So passes are on sale, originalthinkers.com. Please check them out. We have what we're calling the Big Idea passes. They're still early bird till August 15th, and then the prices will go up. We have a limited number of those, and they've been selling really nicely for a first-time festival. Telluride people show up late often. They want to, just see what's going to be going on. So the fact that we've sold as many as we have has been really encouraging. We also have some patron type passes, which we're calling Eureka passes, which give people a slightly different experience of being able to, meals and with some of the guests and all that. But we want this to be inclusive. There'll also be things going on for free. We'll have an outdoor theater. We'll have talks in the Heritage Plaza, which we're going to call the Speaker's Corner. Mm-hmm. And so there'll be a lot of opportunity for people to tap into the festival, even if they're like, oh, I can't do, a full-on pass, which we get. But we want the whole community to be able to have access to this. And we'll do stuff in the schools. But that's really
great.
Important to us, yeah.
Could you give us a little sneak peek into the festival?
Yeah, sure. We've started to announce some guests. We have a wonderful film called Generation Wealth, which really looks at the crazy explosion of luxury and affluence across the world and seen through the eyes of a brilliant photographer named Lauren Greenfield, who's been covering this world for 25 years. And the film is sort of a summary of her life's work. And so she'll be showing the film. She'll also be exhibiting at Telluride Gallery of Fine Arts, which will be great. And her work is in museums. Like, this is a major artist coming to town. Plus, she's been around Telluride for a long time. Her family has a place here. And that'll be great. We have Jeffrey Wright, the actor, who's in Westworld. People get excited about that. And Jeffrey's a great guy. I've known him for a while. He's a friend from New York. And he's so smart. Westworld, of course, is such a smart show, but Jeffrey's dazzlingly intelligent, and the way he'll talk about the work on Westworld, but also some of the films he's been working on, we'll have here as well, and so I think he'll be a really big presence. And he's come here to ski, so he's psyched to come back. And we have a bunch of other guests. We have authors, we have other films, and that's what we're trying to do, is a really precise, tight mix of programming that feels really smart. And the way it'll work is each program, there can be 10 different programs, all at the conference center, aka the Big Idea. Mm-hmm. And each of these programs will have a distinct theme. So for instance, Generation Wealth, the theme of that is awash in aspiration, with the subhead, like a book, the subhead being, what is this obsession with luxury? With that, how do we find meaning in our lives? And it'll be better written in the program, but that's the idea. It's about one thing. In another program, for instance, we'll have a speaker with a short film with a speaker, and mixing these in a way that's about one big idea. And then we want to give the audience time to decompress, take it in, and say, okay, I want to go for a hike, I want to get a beer, I want lunch, I want to do a via ferrata, I want to do something that allows me to think about what I've seen, because I think so much the frenzy of certain festivals, and a ton, Sundance, Tribeca, South by Southwest, I got to get to the next thing. How do I get there? What's the traffic going to be like? Mm-hmm. When you eliminate that, I think it'll allow people to really let what they're seeing, which is important, to sink in and to spend time with it, plus to have that commonality of experience. For instance, at a festival, if you and your husband go to one thing and he goes to the other, you share that to a point. But if you're seeing the same thing and sharing that, I think that bond and that the passion for what you've seen will resonate that much more.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this festival.
It's exciting. I gotta say, I've never done anything like this. I've been a filmmaker. Of course, I worked with Peter Kenworthy at Mountain Film, and that was really exciting because there was an entrepreneurial aspect. But Peter's the entrepreneur. He knows what he's doing. In this case, I don't have that, and building something from scratch, trying to do it, it was really exciting, really daunting. There are a lot of times when I wake up like, what do I have to do? And then answers everything. And the more I do, I feel like the more work I have to do, but I've got a great team working with me. And that's really exciting. And it feels right, even though I would love it if the festival were 4 months away instead of 2 months away. But that's the way it works. And that's what's exciting about working on events, is that you're building towards this thing and you sleep after.
Yeah. Well, it's been really great having you in here to talk about this. I'm really excited.
Thanks for
I
giving
think
me
a
the
lot of
opportunity.
people are.
Cool. Well, buy passes, originalthinkers.com, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Definitely. Let's go to the library for device advice.
Hi, my name's Gloria Chavera.
My name's Hank.
Welcome to Device Advice, brought to you by Wilkinson Public Library. Today we're going to talk to you about portable Wi-Fi hotspots. Hank, do you want to tell us what they're all about?
Have you ever heard of a portable Wi-Fi hotspot? Well, if not, you're in luck, because we're going to tell you about them. They're basically these little devices that you can plug into your wall. They'll give you internet. And we have them for rent at Wilkinson Public Library.
Not for rent. You can borrow them for free with your library card.
My bad. Yeah, we have some from Sprint, which work better in Mountain Village. And we also have
Verizon hotspots that have pretty good coverage everywhere.
But if you have spotty Verizon cell service somewhere, the hotspot's probably not going to work very well either.
Nope. Stop by the library to find out more.
But just so you know, these hotspots are hot, so you need to come by and get on the list.
Thank you for tuning in to Device Advice. See you next time.
Hello and welcome to this mini yoga series in beautiful Telluride, Colorado. My name is Barbara Glansnig, and today we'll be looking at a supported bridge pose, a great way to release the psoas muscles and release the front side of your body. This mini series is really designed to provide you with a bunch of easy stretches that you can do throughout the day, especially if you don't have a lot of time. And as always, I really want you to focus on the breath, inhaling, exhaling through the nose only. Also honor where you are today and move with care. All right, let's get cracking. So I want you to come to your mat and lie down on your back. First, we're going to keep the legs completely extended. Tuck the chin slightly so you feel the length in your neck. Take a few breaths here, and when you're ready, bend your knees and place your heels wider than your hips. Toes turned in. So we're going to be completely pigeon-toed, and usually that's more than you think. So if you can sort of look down and you can see the insides of your feet, you're good. Then place your head down again. You can take a few breaths here first, and then on an inhale you're going to raise your hips towards the sky. Wiggle a little bit so you can reach your shoulder blades underneath. Press down into the ball of the big toe. You can place a block underneath your sacrum if you've got one, otherwise you can just stay here. If you have enough range of motion in the shoulder, you can interlace your hands, press them into the mat, and breathe here. I recommend 5 to 10 really long breaths. Make sure that your foundation is correct. You're gazing in the direction of the nose. And as you're ready, release your hands first, and then slowly, slowly, slowly move your seat down towards the floor. Again, take a couple of breaths, and then roll to your right and push up to a seat. Thank you so very much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Thanks, Barbara. We really enjoy those short yoga segments. If you like those, you can catch more and longer episodes online. Well, Almost Live is
almost over. If you missed part of the episode, never fear, because Almost Live airs every day, morning, noon, and night on cable channel 12.
And you can always catch us on Telluride TV's YouTube channel or on Facebook.
We will see you next time.